Ever feel that subtle, persistent unease? That quiet hum of discomfort that settles in your chest, a weariness that sleep can't touch? It's not the obvious culprits, stress, anxiety. It's something more insidious, a byproduct of the countless times we've nodded, agreed, and swallowed down our own truths. Think of it like carrying an invisible backpack, heavier with each ignored instinct, each compromised boundary. You might even start to believe this weight is normal, just the way things are. But what if I told you that this normalization of the unacceptable is precisely what the great Carl Jung cautioned us against? We're often conditioned to be agreeable, to be the good one, the patient soul who understands everyone else's burdens. We become emotional sponges, absorbing the negativity and unresolved issues of those around us. Just be understanding, we're told. Don't make a fuss. But this constant absorption has a cost. Over time, it erodes our sense of self, making us question our own reactions. When something genuinely feels wrong, we hesitate. Am I being too sensitive? The inner critic whispers. But listen closely. That discomfort isn't weakness. It's your intuition, your inner compass, screaming for attention. Jung, a pioneer in understanding the depths of the human psyche, recognized this silent suffering all too well. Jung understood that the deepest wounds often aren't inflicted by grand, dramatic traumas, but by the accumulation of small, daily poisons. The overlooked gestures, the normalized attitudes, the boundaries left undefended. These seemingly minor infractions act like termites, silently weakening our inner structure, until one day we look in the mirror and feel like a stranger to ourselves. This isn't about assigning blame, it's about awakening to these subtle yet destructive patterns. Jung's work wasn't about comfort, it was about the brutal clarity needed for genuine self-awareness. He highlighted behaviors that, while not overtly malicious, pose a direct threat to our identity, our integrity, and our mental well-being. These harmful behaviors rarely announce themselves with flashing neon signs. They often wear disguises, the mask of concern, the cloak of friendship, the jest of humor. If we're not vigilant, we accept them, and with each acceptance, a little piece of ourselves diminishes. This isn't just about recognizing what others do to us. It's also about acknowledging the times we ourselves have engaged in these patterns. Why does it sting so much when we experience them? Perhaps because we recognize a shadow within ourselves, a behavior we've unknowingly adopted. We weren't taught to identify these subtle forms of violence, these actions that distance us from our authentic selves. Today we're going to shed light on some of these insidious behaviors, drawing inspiration from the kind of insights Jung offered. This won't be easy. It might make you see certain people, and even yourself, in a new and perhaps uncomfortable light. But this discomfort is a necessary step towards freedom. Once you truly see, you can't unsee. Think about those interactions where someone cloaks their control in seemingly caring phrases. "I'm only saying this for your own good," or "if you really loved me, you would." This is covert emotional manipulation at play. It doesn't come with demands. It arrives with tenderness, disguised as concern. The manipulator doesn't need to force you. They skillfully plant seeds of doubt. You start questioning the situation, then your own perception, and eventually yourself. Real-life example. Sarah's mother would often say, "I just worry about you so much, dear. Are you sure that new job is the right fit? You know how sensitive you are to stress." While seemingly caring, these comments subtly undermined Sarah's confidence and made her doubt her own decisions. It wasn't about her mother's genuine concern, but about maintaining a sense of control over Sarah's life. Jung understood that people often go to great lengths to avoid confronting their own inner turmoil. Shaping someone else's reality becomes a convenient distraction. Emotional manipulation thrives in silence, in our ingrained desire to please, and in our fear of losing connection. But the real loss is the erosion of our own self. When control tactics aren't enough, some resort to a more public and insidious form of aggression, humiliation masked as humor. It's the sarcastic comment thrown into a group, the mocking jab delivered with a smile. Everyone else laughs, and you're left feeling singled out, yet pressured to join in for fear of being labeled bitter or humorless. Real-life example. At a work gathering, Mark's colleague, David, often made jokes about Mark's meticulous work habits, saying things like, "Oh, here comes Mr. Detail-oriented. Better hide the magnifying glasses." While others chuckled, Mark felt a sting of being belittled for something he took pride in. If he reacted negatively, David would simply say, "Hey, it was just a joke, can't you take one?" Jung knew that the unconscious mind doesn't differentiate between play and reality. Repeated mockery, however seemingly light-hearted, embeds itself, chipping away at self-esteem. It's a form of symbolic violence, subtly positioning you as the weak one. Often, those who engage in this behavior are deeply insecure themselves, using laughter as a shield against their own feelings of inadequacy. This is the dark art of sowing doubt about your own perception. Someone denies what they said, accuses you of imagining things, and minimizes your emotions. "That never happened," they might say. "You're exaggerating. You always make a drama out of everything." Real-life example. Lisa confronted her partner, Tom, about a promise he had broken. Tom flatly denied ever making the promise, insisting Lisa must have misunderstood or misremembered. Over time, Lisa began to doubt her own memory and judgment, constantly second-guessing herself in the relationship. Jung spoke of this as an internal betrayal, the moment you start to distrust your own feelings, memories, and intuition. Gaslighting is a silent war, a dense fog that settles within you, making you question your sanity. You become a prisoner of someone else's distorted reality. Following the confusion of gaslighting comes the cold dismissal of your emotional experience. You share something that hurts you and it's brushed aside. You explain how you feel and it's ridiculed. You're always on about the same thing. It's not that big a deal. You're just complicating things. Real-life example. When Ben told his friend Alex that he was feeling overwhelmed with work, Alex responded with, "Oh, come on, everyone gets stressed. You just need to toughen up." This dismissal of Ben's feelings made him feel unheard and insignificant, leading him to stop sharing his vulnerabilities with Alex. Every instance of invalidation sends a message. Your emotions are inconvenient, annoying, and exaggerated. You learn to swallow your feelings, to become a muted version of yourself to avoid making others uncomfortable. Jung warned that repressed emotions don't disappear. They fester, manifesting later as anxiety, anger, or a pervasive sadness. After manipulation, ridicule, confusion, and invalidation, the next blow is often a chilling silence, a gesture, a glance, an intentional absence of response. You're not yelled at, you're simply erased. You exist, but you're treated as if you don't. Real-life example. Maria tried to engage her sister Emily in a conversation about a family issue. Emily responded with curt one-word answers or simply looked away, scrolling through her phone. This silent treatment left Maria feeling invisible and deeply hurt, questioning her worthiness of her sister's attention. Contempt doesn't need words. Its silence speaks volumes, wounding our fundamental need for connection. It makes you feel irrelevant, as if your very existence depends on a response that never comes. This can be a breaking point, leaving you feeling isolated and emotionally depleted. From a young age, we're often taught that giving in is loving, that putting others first is noble, and that self-sacrifice is a sign of maturity. Slowly, we learn to prioritize everyone else's needs above our own, gradually disappearing in our own lives. Real-life example. David consistently volunteered for extra tasks at work, helped neighbors with their chores, and always put his family's needs before his own. While seemingly admirable, this perpetual self-sacrifice left him feeling resentful and unfulfilled. He had lost touch with his own desires and passions. Jung believed that the self is the true center of our psyche. Anything that pulls us away from this center, that nullifies our desires and boundaries, fragments us. While the world might applaud our accommodating nature, perpetual sacrifice isn't love. It's often self-abandonment. When self-sacrifice becomes our identity, we lose our authentic voice and sense of self. This is the final, most tragic stage. After enduring so much manipulation, humiliation, confusion, invalidation, silence, and self-abandonment, we might reach a point where we believe that belonging, even with mistreatment, is better than being alone with our truth. We accept crumbs of affection, tolerate rejection, and justify the unjustifiable. Real-life example. Sarah stayed in a toxic relationship where her partner constantly belittled her and ignored her needs. She convinced herself that she was the problem, that she deserved the mistreatment, and that being alone was a worse fate. Jung described this state as a psychic death, a complete disconnection from the self. The person no longer struggles, no longer asks, no longer feels fully alive. They merely survive, adapting to mistreatment because they believe there's nothing better. They accept contempt as the price of not being alone. But it's not true. Nothing is worth betraying yourself every single day. Loneliness can be challenging, but living surrounded by shadows that diminish you is a far deeper form of suffering. You are not here to beg for belonging. You are here to inhabit yourself fully, to take your place in the world authentically. If any of these behaviors resonated with you, know that you're not alone. These patterns can leave deep marks. The first step towards healing is recognition. Now that you have seen these 7 poisons, the question is, what will you do? Many, even after understanding these dynamics, will revert to familiar patterns. Why? Because change can be uncomfortable. It can feel safer to stay in the familiar discomfort than to face the unknown of authenticity. But if you've stayed with me this far, there's likely a spark within you. A quiet rebellion saying, no more. The real work isn't about blaming others. It's about honest self-reflection. Where have you tolerated the intolerable? Who have you justified too much? What parts of yourself have you sacrificed for acceptance? This isn't a quick fix. It's a journey of rediscovering your true self. If you choose to change, be prepared to let go of certain people, bonds, and routines. But understand this. You won't be losing anything that wasn't already diminishing your life force. Every ending will be a purification, leaving behind what is truly yours, solid and unbreakable. Jung's insights weren't meant to please but to awaken. You've opened your eyes. Don't close them now. The true power isn't in seeking the world's respect, but in cultivating unwavering self-respect. Take a moment to reflect on what resonated with you today. Consider leaving a comment about one behavior you are committed to no longer tolerating. This isn't just for me, it's for you, a declaration to yourself. If you seek more unfiltered insights to empower your journey, subscribe. This isn't about hollow motivation, it's about truth. Now, as you leave this video, carry that inner spark with you. Tolerate less. Live more authentically. The one who truly wakes up never sleeps again until the next shadow appears, and you are ready to face it.